Hey, it's Joe here. You see, I love helping people like you get unstuck, get motivated, and take serious action on your goals. And in this video, I want to show you a technique I use with all my clients on how to actually get your goals, not just set them. But first, I want to show you the two major problems that people face when it comes to goal setting. And you want to know the secret? It's not about motivation. I see too many people trying to motivate themselves to go after their goals, and it doesn't work. Ask yourself how many times you've absolutely wanted to make a change. I mean, like really change something in your finance, in your health, your relationships, career, anything. And even though you knew you wanted to change and that you could see the future and that you actually could change, for some reason you couldn't make it happen, right? See, change, it's a tricky thing because as much as we'd all like to think that we're rational creatures and can rely on our logic, well, we just can't. And do you find yourself right now where you'd like to make some real transformation in your career, your business, or your life, but you're stuck? See, what you need is a better way, and you need a better understanding of what's going on. And over the years, I've seen people struggle with chasing their goals. They have all these great ideas and plans on where they want to be. They tell me about them, and then they do these vision boards, they brainstorm and mind map and all sorts of other kinky things to get themselves pumped up about their future. And then what happens? Nothing. It happens to me. It's happened to you. It happens to all of us. And it bothers me. It drives me crazy to see people struggle with this stuff. So let's talk a little bit about what the problem is then. All right. Well, the first problem with goal setting is that we overwhelm ourselves with too much stuff. And to top it off, we actually think we can multitask. Look at your day. How much stuff do you have to do each day? How much have you piled on to your plate in the name of success? And did you know that when you multitask, you actually lose 40% of your productivity? Yeah, 40%. And I'm imagining that when I say that number, you're probably telling yourself that you're not surprised because you feel it. And see, I feel terrible when I see people I care about who are talented and could make a real impact in their lives, but they can't seem to get traction. They just get busier and busier. And the second problem we face with goal setting, and this is a big one, it's our concept of measuring our performance. See, we get so wrapped up in our own expectations, we self-sabotage. We always focus on results rather than the activity. And you see, the most successful people understand that it's consistency over time that yields real results, not trying to hit these big wins sporadically. But when we constantly judge our performance, we lose sight of the steps and we give up way too soon when it's not working. We go through enough of these cycles and it gets harder and harder each time to set those goals because we don't feel confident in our ability to achieve them. Does that sound familiar? Now, let me be clear though. I'm not saying that you're not going to get results, but what I'm talking about is a neat shift in your mindset that's based on smart planning. So to recap, your two big problems in goal setting are being overwhelmed with too much stuff to do and focusing on results rather than activity. All right, cool. So now we know we've got some problems, right? So what are we going to do about it? Well, I'm going to show you how you can totally take control over your goals no matter what you're working on over the next 90 days and create some real results. And be warned, this does require work. This is why it's so powerful. And because really there's no quick fixes. And here's the secret I use. It's called the 90-day sprint. Let me explain. Let's go through how we set goals and how we can actually do them a bit differently. You ready? All right, so let me map you out a process on how to set your goals for anything that you want to work on. Now, let's keep it really simple on this one. And let's talk about personal development. So we want to work on our personal development. We've said, you know what, maybe this is the year or this is the next 3 months that I want to make some changes. We set some goals around personal development. And we know that in our personal development, maybe we want to do some more reading, right? Maybe we want to do some more journaling. And maybe we want to work out a little bit more, some exercise, right? And so we set those as our goals. So we say, you know what? Enough is enough. Let's put some more time into this. And for most people, that's where they stop. They end up right here. And this is what causes all this stress. This is the same problem that we have when we have New Year's resolutions. The challenge that we don't see, if we talk about multitasking and measuring our performance, multitasking is exactly what this is. We don't need more stuff to do. If you're going to make a serious attempt at your goals, you need to be able to break down each one of your goals into manageable activities. Right? You need to be able to know what are the tasks in each one of these processes here that you have to actually get done. How do you break this down into something that you could either say yes or no, I did do it? Right? That's where the accountability comes in. Once you have that, then your job is really just schedule it into your calendar. And to make the most of it, to really eliminate multitasking, put them into 90-minute focus sessions. And this allows you to not have any other distractions. So if you really want to put personal development into your life, this is how you can do it. So out of your 90 minutes, maybe you can have 30 minutes of reading, 30 minutes of journaling, and 30 minutes of exercise. And you can do them in whatever order you want. But in each one of your days, maybe you put that as the first thing that you do in the morning. You can do whatever you want for the rest of your time. This is the same strategy I used when I went on a 90-day blogging program for myself, and the results were awesome. But let's talk about what happens throughout that 90 days. You see, when we go through the 90 days, what we usually see is in the first 30 days here, so 30, 60, 90, in the first 30 days, anybody can do anything for 30 days. And this is where we get really excited. We have lots of fun and everything's exciting. So you see a lot of people, especially in the new year, doing this kind of stuff. But then what happens is we start to measure our performance. We start to look and track and see how we're doing. We say, hey, this is not bad. We've seen some results. And then what do? We start to do other things. And we go on these cycles of constantly switching back and forth and doing different things. The goal at that point is to say, this is great, but we're not worried about results. We want to push through. But what happens is through 30 to 60, we kind of plateau in terms of results. We don't see a lot of changes, but what's happening right here is we're building new behaviors, new skills, new attitudes. It's actually getting much easier. So we've moved past this excitement phase into not that exciting, but the results aren't coming as quickly. So what we end up doing here is we get bored. We start to go, oh man, this isn't as fun as I thought it would be. And most people at this point say again, well, you know what? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go and do some other things. And so they start to change their plan, and they go off of it. And usually what happens is right around 60 days, there's a lot of studies to show that right around 60 days, a lot of people quit on their goals. And for me, it was actually right on target. It was day 56, and I even wrote a blog post about it. The goal is not to be motivated and excited and doing all this. The goal is to say, hey, I put a plan together and I stuck it through, because even after that, it doesn't get that much more exciting. And usually it's only at the end when you get to hear that you see even a bigger spike. And the goal, again, is not to measure your performance. It's not to measure how well you do. The goal is to move from one state of reality to another. Because at this point, again, now you have different behaviors, different skills, different attitudes. You're in a different world. And it's there where you can start to say, hey, I can predict some results now, and I can actually see what I'm capable of. And this is why most people struggle with goal setting. They set those arbitrary goals and a bunch of stuff. They get to work on them, and then when they don't see the performance, they quit. Let me talk to you about one more thing. This is all about the power of variation. And what variation is about, I have a great mentor that helps me with this. He's a scientist, and he's great on organizational complexity. And this is something that the really, really high achievers understand. See, in your business, in your goals, you're not looking, most people have these results. And when we start to map them along the middle, it kind of looks like this, right? And then what happens is we have points that fall outside of what we call the acceptable range. And this happens in our sales process. It happens in our sales results. It happens in our day-to-day, is we're all over the place. We're looking for these home runs, and we're trying to avoid these places at the bottom. But what we don't understand is our goal is not to have big home runs all the time. Our goal is to have a process that is in control, that we can create some predictability on, so we know what we can expect. And then to increase our capabilities just a little bit, so that over time we do a little bit of changes, and then at the end we're able to trend upwards. That's what real success is about. Not these big home runs here, and not trying to avoid these big losses, but keeping things into something that is predictable. And that's really what my 90-day program's all about. So I hope that helps you. Now, if you want more information on the 90-day sprint, click below and check it out on the next page. Now, this is something that I use anytime I want to create momentum for myself, helping my clients, or even with the teams that I work with. Because, you know, what you do is you just set a theme for the next 90 days, you figure out how many hours you can put into it, and you get to work. And through that 90 days, it's about changing your reality, not just getting results. And you can continue doing whatever else you were doing. So if you have sales reports, or if you have stats that you track, all that other stuff, keep doing whatever you were doing, but find a way to add this to your plate. So I hope that helps you. Click the button below, and we see you on the other side.